I'm just going to try this now and let you know, and I'll let you know. Oh, that's delicious. You can really taste the herbs in it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Googie's Kitchen, and if you are new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis, and in today's video I want to share with you how to make my Uncle Hermann's delicious beef stew. As I just mentioned, today I want to share with you how to make my Uncle Hermann's delicious beef stew. So this recipe is really easy to do, and recently we went to visit my cousins in Switzerland. So my Uncle Hermann was a Swiss German, and he married my mum's sister who is English, and they both moved to Switzerland, and I have Swiss cousins, so I went to visit them recently, and my cousin Virginia made us this stew, and I just remember it from my childhood. It is so delicious. You know, one of those foods that you think, oh, I haven't had this for ages, and it just brought back so many nice memories, and I wanted to share it with you because it is such a good dish. He did actually get this from a French cookbook, but he did change a few of the ingredients, and I think I've changed a few bits as well. I'm not sure of the name of the French cookbook either, and I probably couldn't pronounce it to you properly anyway, so I'm not even going to try. So the first thing I've done is I've got a large saucepan, and I'm going to put this onto a high heat on my hob, and I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to the base of the pan. And while the pan is heating up, I just want to say that if you have enjoyed this video today, then please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you did really enjoy this video today, then please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well, because everything like that really helps me out. And as I just said, I'm going to leave this pan to heat up. The pan is getting nice and hot, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some beef stewing steak to the pan. So if your beef stewing steak isn't already chopped, then you will need to chop it, but mine's already chopped, so I'm just going to add this to the frying pan like so. So in the original recipe I said to use 500 grams, but this is just for Ted, Howard and myself this evening, so I'm using about 350 grams. That'll be fine for us. So if you want to reduce the quantity, then you can, but as I said, in the original recipe it was 500 grams. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going to fry the beef off until it starts to go brown. Beef has browned on the outside, which is great, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in 3 slices of Parma ham. So in the original recipe I said 4 slices of Parma ham or bacon, so if you can't get Parma ham then you could use bacon in this recipe. And I'm just going to add that to the base of the pan, and I'm going to fry that round like so until that starts to cook a little bit in the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tip everything out onto a plate. So I've got a spare plate here, and I'm just going to tip everything out and try to leave some of the juice in the bottom as well for the onions and all the vegetables to cook in. So all of that stuff on the bottom is brilliant. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to throw in my onions. So I've got 1 onion that I just peeled, sliced and diced. I'm just going to pop that in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to fry these until they start to soften. And all that stuff at the bottom is really good stuff. That adds a lot of flavour to the dish. So don't think you've got to get rid of that. Just leave it there because it will add a lot of flavour. And I'm just going to continue to fry these onions now until they start to soften. The onions have just started to soften, and they're sort of going a golden brown colour on the edges as well. So this is the point where I like to add in my courgette and my carrot. So I've got 1 courgette that I've simply peeled and grated, and I've got 1 carrot that I've peeled and grated as well. Now you don't have to grate your vegetables if you don't want to. The reason I do is so that certain people in this house can't pick out the vegetables and they have to eat them. So that's the only reason I grate them. But if you wanted to peel, slice and dice them, then you could. Or if you wanted them chunkier, then you can. I also like this method because I find that the vegetables tend to cook quicker if they're grated. They tend to reduce down a lot easier as well. So that's why I generally tend to like this method. Just means I don't have to stand at the hob as long, really. I'm a bit of a lazy cook like that. So yes, I'm just frying off these vegetables until they start to soften, which I think they have. And I'm now going to add in some herbs to this. So from the garden I have picked some thyme, and I've also picked some rosemary, and I picked a sage leaf as well. If you haven't got fresh herbs in your garden, which I understand most people may not, you might live in a flat or whatever, so you can use dried. So I want to say 1 teaspoon of dried sage, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, and then 1 teaspoon of rosemary as well. And I'm just going to add those to the base of the pan, like so. And I'm going to fry those in. Oh, I can smell the herbs already. They hit the base of the pan and the smell just wafted up them. Oh, that's delicious. And then I'm going to add in a teaspoon of cloves, or a quarter teaspoon of cloves as well. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of cloves. Cloves are quite a rich flavour, I would say. So you don't want too much of them because they could overpower the dish, but a little bit is fine. So I've just got some ground cloves that I bought from Sainsbury's. I think my cousin and my uncle used to use whole cloves, but then you find bits of clove in your dinner and it's not very nice. It can be quite off-putting. So I generally tend to don't put in whole cloves. I like to use ground cloves in food. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add back in the beef and the Parma ham that I cooked off earlier. I'm going to mix this all round now, like so. And then I've got some bone broth and I've got some red wine that I'm just going to pour into the base of the pan, like so. And then I've got some tomato puree as well. So I'm going to add in probably about a tablespoon or 2 of tomato puree. So I think that's probably enough for us there. And I'm going to stir these all round. Like so. And I'm going to bring this to the boil. And then once it starts to boil, I'll turn the heat down and I'll leave it to simmer. And I would suggest leaving it to simmer for a good half an hour or so, because that way the meat will become really lovely and juicy and tender, and obviously the wine will sink into the meat as well, and you will just have a really delicious dinner if you just leave it to simmer. So I think I'm just going to let this come to the boil. It only took a few moments, but this has come to the boil now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the heat down to a fairly low heat, I'd say. Not too low, but low enough, and then I'm just going to loosely put the lid on, and I'm going to leave this to simmer, as I said, for about half an hour or so. And I'm going to go and make some hash browns because my son has requested hash browns to go with this, and I haven't done a recipe on it yet, but I will do one soon, I promise, so watch out for that on my channel. As always, I've forgotten to add the salt and the pepper, and also a bay leaf needs to go in here as well. So again, I have those growing in the garden, but if you don't, then you can use dried bay leaves, but that is a fresh bay leaf going in. And I'm going to add a little pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper as well. Salt and pepper to your taste. You don't have to add it if you don't want to, but we like a little bit, but not too much. So, as I said, I'm definitely going to leave the lid on loosely now, and I'm going to go and make those hash browns. It has gone quite dark, so I've had to turn the light on, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make the sour cream for the actual stew. So my Uncle Hermann, when he made this recipe, would have used sour cream, but I don't actually get on too well with dairy. So what I do is I tend to sour coconut cream instead. So I've just squeezed a lemon into about 100 mils of coconut cream, I'd say, and I'm just going to mix those two together, and that should sour it quite nicely. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour that into the stew, and I'm going to mix that all round like so. And that is our dinner done. The hash brown is done. So I will serve up and I will let you know how it tastes. The hash browns have cooked and I've served up, and now I'm just going to try a little bit of the beef. I promise it's juicy and tender, I'm sure it is. I'm just going to try this now and let you know, and I'll let you know. Oh, that's delicious. You can really taste the herbs in it and the cloves as well. That's really good. So that is our dinner this evening. That's how you make my Uncle Herman's delicious beef stew, and that recipe I will link in the description box below for you. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be having this for our dinner this evening, and it smells and tastes so good, I can't wait. So for now, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.